How's it going, everybody, and welcome back to some more Phantom Hourglass. In the previous video, we completed the Temple of Courage and got ourselves a nice little bow, as well as the final fairy. And in this video, it is just going to be primarily collecting things. So it's not the most exciting video in the world, but there is one little story cutscene that we do witness in just a bit. But other than that, I'm just collecting things around that I couldn't get previously, or that I just kind of pushed off until this video, so do with that what you will. I am going to be getting majority of the things that I have treasure maps for and using the salvage arm to purchase them, and there is some horrendous minigame that I do complete this video, which I had about 40 minutes, no, probably an hour, I would say, an hour's worth of attempts for trying to complete this one minigame, and I eventually did do it, but it is, I would say it's worse than that Goron minigame from Oracle of Ages, because this was something else, but I did cut it apart just to make it look a bit easier. So, you'll see that in just a second. Now, there is two main things that you want to get from this minigame. One is a quiver, and the other is a heart container. Now, I believe the quiver has to be from I think it's 1,700 and above. And for the other, I believe it has to be above 2,000, I think. You'll see in just a sec, but this is for me obtaining the quiver. I didn't put the attempt in, but I did put the attempt in for getting the heart container, which you'll see just how tedious it can be. Like, this is after an hour's worth of attempts, and you'll see just how annoying it can be. Basically, what you want to do is shoot all the ghosts. If you miss a ghost, or if you shoot a girl, your score is going to be, the multiplier is going to be reset, which really is horrible. So we don't want that happening. Excuse me, because otherwise you're not going to be able to get the 2,000 score that you need. So whoever designed this just was something else, because this is horrible. And I would argue worse than the Goron dancing minigame, to be honest. But I did do it eventually. Now, if they were to remake this minigame, I would say they might want to do something that does involve moving targets, or, I mean, it being all on one screen would be a game changer, so who knows how they would go about ever remaking this game anyways, but it's just, it is something else, something horrendous, this minigame is. And I don't even know how I managed to do this. I just, like, if you guys have ever seen Chuck, it's like I had an intersect flash here. And I don't know how that last point counted. I guess the arrow hit right when it said time, or it just depends on when your arrow. As long as the arrow hits, I guess your score is counted. But thankfully, I got that done and over with, because like I said, it was terrible. That was horrendous. But see here, I actually saved because I was like, holy crap, I actually did it. I actually did it. But it was just, it was horrible. So there's a little cutscene we're going to have here in just a bit that I am going to stay quiet for, because it does contain some interesting story lore and a little reasoning for the fairies. So, I feel that's kind of the start of Linebeck really, even slightly starting to open up. Granted, he's not. I don't want to. I don't know how to phrase it. He's not like overly caring about Link yet, but it definitely plants like a little seed that there might be something good from Linebeck that just maybe some other people haven't seen. And here's another little Linebeck story we get here. Jolene. Evidently him and Linebeck have had some running-ins in the past, and she goes after Link and the ship, and fortunately, Link's little... I don't know how old he's supposed to be, 12, 9, however old he is, his little swordsman skill is much better than hers, which I guess I can understand, because he does have the Wind Waker behind his belt, and I don't know, for all I know, she's just kind of like a little pirate who... I don't know, probably doesn't have too much experience, and for whatever reason the ship's engine goes out. I don't know what that's about, but she ambushes the ship, and we do have to fight her. And I don't know how she confused Link with Linebeck at first, but she somehow did, and she's kind of gonna be, I don't know what you want to call her, a little side villain that we are going to be encountering from now to pretty close to the late game. We do eventually sort of defeat her, but not until like the very end. So the way to actually inflict damage on her is to wait for her to do her little jump attack like this, and then slash at her. And once you do that, you can rub the stylus against the screen, knock her sword out of her hand. Otherwise, I think you can hit her again, and it sometimes knocks her sword out of her hand, but I don't know how you do that, like, 100% of the time, because it's a little bit faster. By the way, that is Jolene, like the Dolly Parton song, and we can't use her sword, which is a little weird. I don't know how she keeps getting it back, but evidently she does. Maybe she has, like, a little runt come to the ship when Linebeck's just standing outside, and then they take the sword back. I don't know. But that is not the last we see of Jolene. So, now that we have our 10 power gems, we can actually get a little offense upgrade. And this letter I don't think is meant for Link, but yeah, Joanne. So we actually do have to return this letter to Joanne, but it gives some backstory between the two, which is really cool, because they didn't need to include this little detail, but they did, so that's pretty cool. And they talk about the Little Mermaid costume obsession, which is definitely strange, but to each their own. And for some reason, we do end up with the letter. I don't really understand why we have the letter, because he's the mailman. He could just fly it over to her, but yeah, I don't know. For some reason, we get the letter. So, we're going to deliver that at some point in this video. But first, we want to head here, because our offense is going to be increased. I think it is double. I'm pretty sure the first 10 double our strength. Wisdom is going to be coming up probably in... well, not anytime soon, but after, like, the next dungeon or so. Is pretty close to the time when we're actually going to be upgrading Wisdom. And it feels like a strange choice for offense to be increased first. But I guess if you're struggling, I feel like we go either way with offense or defense. But now that we have a bit more offense, or double offense, we can equip the fairy, which I don't think I figured out how to do right away. You actually have to click the fairy, not keep clicking the gems, which I was having an existential crisis for. But I did figure it out eventually. We don't have any other gems, unfortunately, that are at 10. But you do click the fairy, and that is how you equip your extra offense. So, good to have that. I don't know if it works on bosses. I would assume it would. But for the most part, I know it works on enemies, normal enemies. And I want to say the one for 20 is like 4 times offense, maybe? Something along those lines. We do, however... crap, I lost my train of thought. Yeah, I don't know what I was going to say. But some of the salvage items we're going to be getting are some treasures, ship parts, and I believe we'll get some sand time in this video, which is used for our Phantom Hourglass. Now, I think these only come in 1 minute increments. I think there's 2 minutes we find total. I don't know how many minutes you find out in the ocean total, but I do know that with the treasure maps I get this video, or at least have so far, there is 2 minutes total worth of sand we can find. Might not seem like a lot, but it does total up, so it's always good to have a little bit extra, just in case. And I did cut out a lot of the sailing around just because it did get kind of boring after a little while, but I did include some of it just to show that I'm still in the ocean. And that little spot right there next to the mailbox, the house that's there, that's where you can repair your salvage arm if you ever break it, as well as putting on new ship parts. And for the house that's up in that right corner there, above the little ship shop, that is where you can sell your treasures and you can sell your ship parts if you have extra. I wouldn't recommend selling ship parts that you only have one of, but if you really want to, you can go for it. But I am working on getting sets, and this is the treasure map that well, actually, I don't know if we came across it yet, but one of the little gossip stone thingies was talking about it. And that is where you get the treasure map from, just digging in front of the tree. And I don't really think there's any other story related things that go into this video, because I don't want to get like have so much backtracking I have to do, or just missing out so much. Like, the treasure maps are going to start to pile up after a while if I don't get these treasures going, so better get them now and just kind of progressively getting them as I get the treasure maps for each individual area. That way I don't have like 100 treasures to get at the end of the game, because it can be annoying trying to get those little salvage rewards sometimes, just having to be careful with your salvage arm and whatnot. So it is good that you kind of keep up with the rate that you're getting the treasure maps. And it's always good to get your gems when you can, because you never know when you might need a certain upgrade, or when you're struggling with something. Maybe a little bit more offense can help, maybe a little bit more defense can help. I don't know. And just always make sure you're hitting the frogs too to activate the little cyclones. I think you do have to hit them to activate the cyclones. I don't think the designs would work if we didn't activate them. So just make sure you're shooting the frogs when you see them, and that way you have some fast travel methods. I don't think it's possible to knock the enemies in the water, which would be kind of funny, but it is what it is. And one of the guys that we're going to be encountering, um, excuse me, one of the dudes that we're going to be encountering, he's up in that little corner there, right top right corner of the map. That is where he is. And what he does is, if you have like another friend that has Phantom Hourglass, you can exchange treasures, and I think ship parts too. I'm not 100% certain on that part, but if you do have someone else that has Phantom Hourglass, you can just, I think you do it from the main menu. I think you go to the Wi-Fi connection stuff, or maybe it's obtained just by playing with different players that have Phantom Hourglass. I don't know 100% exactly. I think that's how it works though. And whatever treasures they put in the hat, or the little, I don't know what you want to call them, thingamajigs that the dude has up there, that is going to be how you go about like exchanging treasures, exchanging ship parts, just that sort of thing. So, unfortunately, it's not really of much use anymore since the servers for this game, well, all the old DS games shut off quite a long time ago, so it is what it is. But unfortunately, everything can be obtained by yourself. It just requires a lot of patience, a lot of randomness, RNG, that sort of thing. So it's not the end of the world. And I think that we do need this laser shining on this wall in order to access that part of the island. So you throw a bomb. And that little crack opens up, and then the laser disappears. So I do think you have to have the light shining at it. And then we can make our way this way. And there is a little crystal we can shoot there, but I do backtrack because I forgot about it at this point. But we make our way up here, and we're going to come across a new little friend. I don't remember what his name is. He'll tell us, so I don't have to remember. And that switch there is going to create a bridge for us, so we can just backtrack here instantly. If we have a friend that has Phantom Hourglass, it gives us ship parts or treasure, whatever the case. It just goes in these little hats. Freedle, that's his name. At least I think it's a he. Maybe it's a she. I mean, I don't know. Looks like she's wearing. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. We'll just call it for now. But he's just explaining. They're explaining how you go about exchanging parts, whether it be ship parts or treasures. Unfortunately, like I said, can't do anything. But I don't really know that we're going to need help, because there's a lot of ways to go about getting treasures and ship parts, and we don't really need treasures once we get them all, just enough to fill out every little section of our little collection area. We'll do just fine. So like I said, there's a little crystal on the bottom. I believe it's the bottom. Yeah. I think this is going to be a gem, if I'm not mistaken. Yep, courage gem. And I know I said this last video. I probably said it before this video too, but it's just stupid that you get the courage gems and wisdom gems so much later. Like the 10 of them. Because courage just gives you sword beams, which aren't really helpful. And I'm pretty sure Spirit Tracks, there's like a scroll that gives you the sword beams. And it's just, they give you the good stuff late game, which, I don't know, I always thought was kind of stupid in some regards. I feel that there's some games, like, say in the Oracle games, you can do linked games, and that's how you go about getting certain things, like the rings and whatnot, and you can transfer those over, you know, so you can start off a game with, like, the best rings possible, and it's cool that they did that, but I don't know, I just feel like getting the Hurricane Spin, like, late game is kind of stupid, you know? Or sword beams, like, mid-game, like, I don't know. Just seems like a weird decision. And here I go, just showing off some of my ship parts that I have and how we can put them on there. And the way ship parts work is, whenever you have a full set, that's actually going to give you more hearts. I think that for the most part, most sets only give you like a few more hearts, but I think there's like a gold set or something that does give you a lot more hearts. And I think a lot of this is just RNG, whether or not you get the good parts or not. So it is a little sucky, but at the same time, ocean traversal is not really heavy on battles. I mean, we do have our occasional boss fight here and there, but for the most part, it's pretty easy going overall. So you shouldn't ever have too much difficulty throughout the ocean. Fairly straightforward, I would say. And here we are back out to the ocean, and this is where I show majority of getting the salvage. You can see where I am on the map. I don't think... So, as long as it's not the Sands of Time, it's going to be something different for the most part, I think. Like, it's always going to be a treasure in, like, a treasure spot, and it's always going to be a ship part in a ship part spot, but, like, your ship part might be different from mine, your treasure might be different from mine, but I believe that the sand parts are always, or the sands of time are always going to be sands of time. So, like, the locations for stuff don't switch around, but what you may get is going to be different than what I get. So, just keep that in mind if I get, like, a super rare part and you end up getting, like, something that's really junky. It's just the way the game rolls. Here I go, just showing off all my salvage parts, and you'll see there on the bottom screen, the little swordfish icon is what we're looking for our final fish, and unfortunately, I only now just got the swordfish in a video I just filmed today. These videos were all filmed like a few weeks ago or so ago, so it really sucks that it took me that long to find the swordfish, but you get a heart container for it, so I would say it's worth it, but it does require a bit of patience. Now, you could just keep resetting from going off the island, saving and restarting, or just going back to the island and then going out to the ship again. Whatever floats your boat. And we do want to return this letter to Jolene here, because she's going to give us a crystal, or a gem. I think it's a courage gem. Might be a wisdom gem, though. And then she'll read the letter off. So, I guess these are just hobbies of the ladies. One of them dresses up as a mermaid, the other dresses up as a pirate. Okay, it is a wisdom gem, so we're getting up there with them. And I don't know what that dude's deal is. He's just standing there all creepy. So that fish that he was talking about there at the end, that is the final one we're looking for. And once we catch that, we are done with fishing. So if you really hate fishing in this game, rest assured, you never have to do any fishing again after you get that last fish. But until then, you do got to keep an eye out for the swordfish. I think I read on GameFAQs that some of those normal fish icons, they can contain the swordfish as well. I really hope that's not the case, because that'd kind of suck if you can, like, you have to rely on those ones, but I think it's only the swordfish icons that give you the final fish, because I think I got my, the swordfish, or whatever it's called, from the normal fish icons, but I think the final fish that we need to get is from swordfish icons, so just, if you've gotten every other fish, just only pay attention to the swordfish icons. And this is just a montage of me getting the salvage arm items. Like I said, if you ever damage your salvage arm, just head back to Murky Island. I think that's what it's called. And the dude will fix up your salvage arm for 100 rupees. And it is better to get these now so that we're not overloaded with little treasure spots later on. So, I mean, if you don't want to, you don't have to. This is just for me getting, taking care of my OCD. Getting all the parts. Now, whether or not you can get these rewards before you have the treasure maps, I don't know. But I think that is going to do it for this video. Next video, we're going to be going after the ghost ship. So, I want to thank you guys all for watching, and I hope you have a good rest of your day, and hopefully you don't struggle with the salvage arm like I did, because I did quite a bit of that out.